I am Vinnie Tortorich, folks. Your good intentions have been stolen, but don't worry. I'm here to help you get them back. You may be soft and succulent at the beginning of this process, but hang in there. Before long, you will be lean and mean, guaranteed, just like the woman on the other mic, the beautiful Miss Anna Vocino. Yeah, I'm pleased to meet you. That's right.
And likewise.
Yeah.
And also likewise, and same nonetheless.
Yeah. You just better hope Pilate doesn't wash his hands with you.
No.
That's
don't want that.
End up on a cross.
No.
You know, I said something there in the intro, and I thought about it while I was listening to one of the greatest rock and roll songs ever, Sympathy for the Devil. Mick Jagger.
Yeah.
He's got to be, what, 85 if he's a day?
Got to be.
All right, so he's my parent.
I'm going to Google it.
All right, he's my parents' age. Anna's going to Google it. And
81.
81. My mom is 83.
Or in the same year as my mom and Lauren's mom, 43.
Okay. That man is still running up and down, back and forth, yelling into a mic and singing and not out of breath.
Yeah. How's he do that?
Because Anna, it goes to that thing, right? And look, the guy boosted up his whole life, a lot of drugs and whatever, but on some level took care of himself also. Now, Keith Richards is a completely different story. Nobody knows. He's the original human roach. You can't kill him.
Right.
Right. I got a feeling, he's going to be here as long as styrofoam. I mean, that guy's just not going away. But Mick is running around that stage. Get a kid today. They can't do it. I don't see. Look, I'm sure the Eras tour is great and everyone loves. What's her name? Swifty Swift over there.
Taylor Swift. Yep.
But I don't know if she's running like Mick Jagger. And is she 35 years old? Is she that old?
I think so. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. You think she can run and not be out of breath like him? And I know people are going to write to me and go, she runs a lot during that. And she does 4-hour shows and Okay.
Does she? Right. I don't know anything about Taylor Swift.
I don't know. I'll never go to a concert. But the bottom line is Mick Jagger. People go, oh, when you get older, you slow down. He looks like he's speeding up to me. I'm not kidding. It's pretty amazing what those guys are able to do. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and also like Paul McCartney, and also, who's the one I saw recently who was so good? Paul Simon.
Oh, you can go down the thing. Paul Simon. I met, what's his name? Fly like an eagle, Steve. What's his name?
Steve Miller.
Steve Miller. They're all out there doing it. But yeah. Steve Miller ain't running up and down a stage. Sorry, Paul Simon is not running up and down the stage and singing. ZZ Top, one of them is dead. The bassist is dead. These guys aren't running. I'm thinking of all the old rock stars that are still doing it. Oh, I'll give you the best example of a guy, Bruce Springsteen.
Yeah.
Who's still in incredible shape. He's still doing it.
Mm-hmm.
But Bruce ain't running like Mick Jagger's running. And by the way, Bruce Springsteen is another great example of stay in shape and you can keep. How old is Brucey? He's got to be mid-70s.
Got to be.
Bruce Springsteen is another one. I used to see him in the gym in Brentwood. 75. That guy, when he was 65, was still built like a damn bodybuilder. Just worked out all the time. I knew his trainer. I was in the same gym. It was a gym where celebrities and supermodels would go. I can't tell you guys where it was. I think it's still there. But it was just exclusive for muckety mucks and their trainers, right? I used to see him in there all the time. It was like, Jesus Christ, man, this guy's keeping it together. And to an extent, Stallone. Now, the difference with Stallone, we know he did a lot of drugs, a lot of steroids along the way. That's That's neither here nor there. But he's kept it together for a long time. I hope he's not doing any steroids anymore. Apparently he's not, because I've seen Tulsa King. But these guys are still looking great, folks. The point is, and look, I use my mom, Marie Tortorich. The woman is at her high school weight at 83 years old. Most of my mom's life, she was in the early 200s weight-wise. My mom was about 5'3", 5'4", about Anna's height. And she was.
I am 5'5", I'll have you know.
Okay, I don't think my mom is your height. She's 5'3" or 5'4". My mom, I'm looking over there to see if I can find a picture of her from when she was in high school. She's back at her high school weight, right? The lowest I would ever see my mom get to when she was a school teacher or whatever, 200, 205, and she would creep up to the 260 range, 270. And then every summer, she and her friend Grace Ann would go on these ridiculous diets and lose 40 or 50 pounds. That's why I know so much about diet culture. I watched my mom do it every summer. And every time that they would get to the weight, right, by doing the wacky diet, then you would see them, oh, look, there's pie at the house and 2/3 of it is eaten. That means Grace Ann came over, and maybe Joni. By the way, Joni's no longer with us. And maybe Jackie, no longer with us. And they would eat the pie. I mean, they would eat cakes and pies. They would make them, by the way. They weren't buying this stuff like people buy today with all the chemicals in them. But as soon as they got to their goal weight, boom, they would just start. That's why I know I learned from the beginning what people would do and how they would do it. Right? So there you go. Anna, before I know we're going to do a one-on-one today, a 101.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to do it on Starches, I think, right?
Yep.
We just came out of a starch holiday last Thursday.
The starchiest of holidays.
But before we get into that, folks, the holidays are among us. They're on us. We're in them right now. Now, everyone loves my saying. It's not what you eat between Christmas and New Year's that counts. It's what you eat between New Year's and Christmas that counts. Mm-hmm. Yes, when you see that on the internet, I'm the guy that came up with that probably 40 years ago on my radio show. Just one of those things I came up with. I don't know. It's not that ingenious, so I don't think I'm patting myself on the back. But it's the truth. Now, I did a call-in show. Anna, do you know about this? That I did a call-in show?
Yeah.
The Friday show, I'm tired of just talking to experts. The best experts are you guys. And I used to have a Saturday show, and I would do the success stories on a Saturday show. I'm taking a page out of my buddy John Deloney's book, podcast book, I guess, where I'm doing a show where people can call in and talk to me, and I give them advice. And if it's a success story, we listen to that. We do it all. That's the way we're doing it. But I spoke to a lady. I'm not going to say her name right now because, quite frankly, I don't have it written down here. And I told her, and we're recording this a week early, but I told her she can call me during the holidays. She's a sugar addict. She needs to lose weight. Now, I can't have everyone call me. Folks, if you want to set up a consult over the holidays, please do. You can go to VinnieTortorich. I can't just do them all gratis. It takes a lot of time to do these things. But I felt for this woman. I said, hey, listen, I'm not going to leave you hanging over the holidays, because she wants to she's just starting this process again of trying to kick sugar, but she knew Thanksgiving is coming in a week. And when I mentioned that, she started tearing up, right? And I knew exactly where she was. She knew she could do it for a week. Mm-hmm. But she also knew on that day, on Thanksgiving Day, it's almost impossible. Different emotions. You're around family and friends and loved ones, and all of those childhood feelings come back. I think it's why I like watching Hallmark Christmas movies. It reminds me of a time, right? It brings me back. And holidays do that to people. We just got
Right.
through Thanksgiving. If you went for it on Thanksgiving, great. If you still have pies and sweet potatoes and all that in your fridge, get them the fuck out of there.
Yeah. Throw it out.
Get them
Also, this
out.
is the Monday after Thanksgiving. That's a 5-day-old pie. That's trash. Throw it out.
They opened for the Stones back in 75.
Trash pie?
No, 5-day-old pie. Yeah. You're laughing, but
I like the name trash pie.
there was a group called Humble Pie. I had
Yes. Yes, you're gonna play that at the end.
Oh, probably there'll be some humble pie at the end of this. Yeah. So you get where I am on this, right?
Oh yeah.
If you did it, get it out. Let's move on. Right? That's where we are. Now it's time to move on.
This is why I offer so many recipes without the sugars and grains, so that if you want to, you could make an NSNG Thanksgiving or Christmas or Hanukkah meal and not go there. Just saying.
Yeah.
Just saying. Just
Well,
throwing that out there.
We're out of that holiday. We're looking at the next holiday.
Yeah, we're looking at Christmas. We're looking at Christmas, New Year's, Hanukkah, all that good stuff, and vacations, and people coming over, bringing candy to the house, and bringing cookies to each other, and doing the whole thing, and it's a lot. And the thing is, here's the thing that I think about cookies, and I know people are going to fight me about this. Cookies to me feel like the crack cocaine of desserts, and here's why.
Yeah.
You're never satisfied with one cookie. So then you eat another cookie. And then you kind of want another cookie. Then maybe you have 4 or 5 cookies or whatever that number is for you. And you never like, that really hit something. It never ends. So you want more, like you just want more until your stomach hurts.
Yeah.
And so my thing is, I don't touch a cookie. I just don't touch it because I don't feel good. I can't stop myself at one cookie. You know what I mean? And then I don't feel good after 3 or 4 cookies. I feel like I'm going to throw up. So it's like, I don't bother with it. But how did I get to that point? I had to tempt fate and eat NSNG for a long time. And then I go back to try the cookies and I'm like, it doesn't hold up. I can't do it.
Right.
So cookies are to me, like, why do we do Christmas cookies? We can do something else. Can't we do something else? Can we do Christmas bacon? Let's bring bacon to each other's houses. Let's bring a pound of butter as that's my favorite. Amy Sedaris suggested that in a book 20 years ago. Bring a pound of butter as a hostess gift. First of all, that hostess will thank you. It's not going to blend into all the wines.
Yeah.
Bring a nice pound of butter over there, and she'll remember you. She'll be like, "That was smart. You gave me a pound of butter." But like, the foods are just not as satisfying. But then we have things like eggnog, and people have that like association with eggnog. And I have the eggnog recipe. You've made it before.
Oh yeah, I
And
made a
then we have
pudding out
things
of it.
like
Yeah.
sausage cheddar balls. If you go to a Christmas party in America, chances are there's going to be a sausage cheddar ball, and it's mixed with Bisquick or some sort of cooking mix or grain or cornstarch at the very least to keep it together. I have a recipe for that. So you can have an NSNG sausage ball. So you go to the Christmas party, bring the sausage ball. You know what I mean? Bring it with you. There's so many recipes for you to bring and get out ahead of it. But you have to get out ahead of it. And you have to think of like, what are those touch points where you're going to feel emotional and you're going to want to eat the things. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. There, I made that up just now. I know.
Whoa.
I know. I just made it up. I
No,
don't
you
know.
didn't. Come on, Anna. I've heard
I'm
that
on
platitude
fire right
before.
now.
I've heard that platitude before.
No. I just made it up just now. Thank
Okay,
you so
Anna.
much for asking.
By the way,
Yes.
I went to watch Goo Goo Dolls at the Greek about 10 years ago
Yeah.
because I had a client in the band,
Yeah.
and
You just dropped something.
sausage cheddar balls opened up for him.
Most of my recipes could be bands.
Yeah, all of
be
them,
honest.
good, Anna.
That's-
And when you hear it, you go, "Wait, really? That's a stupid." The fucking band is called Goo Goo Dolls, right? It doesn't get
Yeah.
any worse than that. Come on, Mr.
Yeah.
Rep. You could have done
Oh,
better.
I hear you on this season, and listen, I've practiced a lot, so I can say, oh, I'm just going to have Christmas Eve dinner and Christmas dinner, maybe the 23rd as well, and that's it. And I can get right back on plan. It doesn't It doesn't affect me. I don't have the emotional ties anymore because it's been. But if you're brand new at this, let's say you're a Roby 3.0,
Yeah.
it might be real hard. It's going to activate those things, those associations that you have with food. You have the good feelings associated with food, or maybe you have a crappy family situation, a crappy Christmas situation, and the food just makes you feel better. Whatever it is, we have so much tied up in the food,
Yeah.
especially at this time of year.
And look, I've talked about this before, Anna. We might not even get to the one. We're going to try to get to it because I think this is important to talk about because this is emotional stuff. And this could
Most
tie in.
important, I think.
You know what? This will tie into. I want to continue on this path for a minute. This will tie into talking about starches because it's all starches this time of year.
Yeah.
Right.
And starches get us in that emotional place. Like we have emotions tied up.
Oh,
we have feelings. We feel some kind of way about starches.
I've had 3 conversations. Again, this is being recorded before Thanksgiving. I've been part of at least 3 conversations where stuffed artichokes have been brought up.
Yeah.
It doesn't get any starchier. Do people know what stuffed artichoke?
I don't understand. I'm so far away from putting breading in artichokes that I'm like, it's so easy to make delicious steamed or grilled artichokes with a ton of Parmesan and pine nuts and all kind of things. You don't need the breading.
Serena and I have done that, but these recipes go back all the way to the old.
I know.
And my mom makes a Calabrese style. My grandmother used to make a Sicilian style. I had a cousin who made Sicilian style. I'm half mainland, half island, right? And I'll never forget being at my grandmother Tortorich's funeral, and I felt like I was in a movie Fatso. I was crying over her coffin, and all I could think was, I will never taste her stuffed artichokes again. Food. When people think, "Oh, Vinny, you're stoic and you don't this and that and food and the whole thing," when you're Italian, fuck it. When you're Italian, Greek, Spanish, even German, I'll go there. Food is a love language.
Yeah.
Right? Food is love.
Yep.
For a lot of people. And if you think, oh, I grew up, I was a latchkey kid and the whole thing, that's why those kids, processed food is their love language.
For sure. Everybody has that association.
We had macaroni and cheese lady last week, but I've never had the Kraft macaroni and cheese, and it comes in a box.
Mm-hmm.
I've had real mac and cheese made by my mom or my grandmother, but that's a love language to some people. Like, I'm told that, and you tell me, you stir the things, and there's like a powder you throw on top, and it becomes.
That's right.
Cheese, right?
That's right. And they invented it during World War II so that they could have shelf-stable cheese product. Same with the, not the Hellmann's mayonnaise. What's the other one? The Miracle Whip. They wanted a cheaper, shelf-stable alternative. So they whipped the seed oil real good and put all kind of sugar and preservatives in it. And there you go. There's Miracle Whip.
That's become too many Americans' love language. You see, I can stay away from stuffed artichokes because one of the people, she's already dead. Well, 2 of them. Mama Virginia, she's also dead.
Yeah.
That was my great grandmother. Her one is gone. And my mom's is kind of like Mama Virginia's, but and if my mom is making it this year, you better fucking believe it. I'm going to eat it because I don't know how many years she's going to be around. Hell, I don't know how many years I'm going to be around. Let's be honest here.
Well, none of us know. None of us know that.
To the grave, and I think I'm winning that race half the time.
I feel like if you really want to know that recipe, you or Serena need to learn that recipe.
Serena has done the recipe. She did it, and Serena's very good at mimicking recipes, as you know.
Yeah.
Like Serena's one of those people, like you go to a restaurant, and I'll go, "Oh my God, this is great," and she'll taste it and go, "Okay, got it," and she'll go home and make it. My mom coached her one night about 15 years ago. I was telling Serena about, she was like, "What are you with these Italians with the stuff?" I said, "Let's get my mom on the phone." We had the stuffed artichokes there. Of course, we had to steam them and do the whole thing, and we had to call my mom back like an hour later. And now you stuff them with this, and you do the ricotta, and the this, and the bat with the parmigiana, and the deep boot with the garlic and on and on and on. You got to put the lemons on top and all the things, right? Serena did it. Okay.
Great.
And
she needs to teach Tallulah
that was
so
the
that
one.
she learns.
You got to understand, she did it one time. And I
Yeah.
said to Serena, when she did it, this was like 15 years ago, I said, honey, this is dangerous.
Never make this again.
Very dangerous. And we were one and done because I would have been there once a week going, we need those stuffed artichokes again. Right. So you have to do things like that. We're doing Starch 101. Nothing is starchier than that at all.
Why is it so starchy? Because you're just putting the flour. Is that the only starch in it? The flour on the top?
The whole thing is stuffed with breadcrumbs. You mix the bread.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. Like,
ricotta,
what if you didn't do it?
It's got to be.
No, you're not listening to me. And here's what you're doing. You're so attached to this stuffed artichoke recipe.
I'm hurting for it right now.
You're not acquiescing to the fact that somebody could make an NSNG version, which is the whole reason we're here.
I'm going to pretend you didn't say that.
I don't care. I don't care.
Do you have one in Eat Happy Italian?
No, I don't. I have a baby artichoke recipe because I fry the baby artichokes.
Okay, Anna.
That's my favorite.
Here's your task. Should you decide?
I can do it. I will do it. I will also say right now, artichokes are not in season. So I would actually wait till...
I'll get a fucking artichoke. Anna, I'm guessing you're going to use pine nuts.
Probably some pinoli. I can either use almond flour or pork rind, crushed up, Parmesan.
Yeah.
Get the lemon, get the garlic, get it nice and schmutzy. And the whole thing is to steam it good. And I would serve a little aioli on the side.
Okay, Anna, listen, you don't have to get an artichoke. You can just make the stuffing and try it.
Yeah, I know.
You don't have to stuff it. You can just do it and just cook it down or whatever.
I can get an artichoke. I'm just saying they're better in late spring. That's all.
Listen, there's a long winter coming up here. Don't wait that long.
I was gonna say, well, maybe they grow them different in Louisiana.
I never thought of that, but if anyone can do it, it's you.
Yeah. Hello. I just wrote a whole Italian cookbook.
You might be the savior of me getting something that I love back again.
Yeah.
Now, you can't sit there and just eat pine nut after pine nut. But here's the thing.
No. But you do it in the food processor, right? So you get the texture.
Right. Yeah. I got what you're doing. We got the food process. We got it all. Anna, if you pull this off.
I'm pulling off a coup. I feel like you felt this way 2 years ago about the eggnog. You did not believe me that we could do it.
Anna, I have a nice size savings account. If you can pull this off, I will transfer 100% of it to you.
I already know your PayPal login. I could have been stealing from you all this time.
No. Isn't it crazy? I don't care about money. How weird is that? As much as I am about saving money, Anna can go into my PayPal and
I can steal all of your money.
Yeah. Not all of it. You can steal what's in PayPal and,
Oh, I could do a little bank transfer if I needed to.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
This is what I tell my husband.
You just became sexier to me.
Well, you might want to change your password. I'm just kidding.
Honey.
No, this is what I tell my husband because he doesn't want to deal with the financial stuff. It stresses him out. I am happy to deal with the financial stuff. And part of that is because I've watched women over my life not pay attention to their finances. And then either their husband leaves them or their husband dies and they do not know their head from a hole in the ground. And it's a mess. So I'm like, no, I'll take care of the finances. And and I tell them all the time, like, I could just rob you. You have no idea.
Yeah. I want you to ask me 3 questions. The first question is, are you rich? The second question is, are you poor? And the third question is, do you know how much money you have? Go on.
Okay. Vinny, are you rich?
I have no idea.
Are you poor?
No idea.
What'd you say? How much money do you have?
Yeah.
How much money do you have?
No idea. And I'm being honest.
Yeah.
I looked me up on the internet one day to see how much money,
what did it say your net worth was?
I don't know, but they had me in the millions. And I went, wow, I'm doing good. But
Good for me.
good for me. And, I don't know. I don't know how they tell all that stuff.
They don't. How would they know?
I asked Howie one time. I looked up Howie's, dropping another name. I'm dropping names all over tonight.
You're busy today.
And I said, Howie, they have you listed at whatever it was, $50 million. I don't know.
Yeah.
He goes, yeah. I said, I just need to know, since we're buddies, are they close? And he goes, nope.
He's got way more money than that.
I, he didn't tell me how much, but no, he's worth way more than that.
Yeah.
Howie can show you his first dime. And I don't think people realize, even before he got into the stratosphere of making money in Hollywood, he had invested all of his money in real estate. He grew up poor. And so I think Howie's going to make it to the finish line.
Yeah, he's fine.
Yeah.
He's doing just fine. Okay, back to Starches.
Okay.
Let's go back to Starches, and yes, we'll work on the stuffed artichoke recipe for you. So you need to go and taste it at your mom's so that you know.
Well, Anna, I could
You
get
have a quick
Marie to give
you
you.
take some pictures for me.
I'll
Mari
get
and I need to
Marie.
jump on a call,
She'll give you the recipe.
but you need to take a picture for me so I can see it.
Okay.
I think I know what it looks like, but I still want to know how she does it. And
Okay.
and we'll go from there. But
Should we
coming
get
back
on
to
the
this,
phone tonight and ask her about this?
not right now.
Okay. All right. So let's do a Villa Capelli ad. I'll get you in touch with Marie. She can tell you the recipe.
Great.
But we got to do a Villa Capelli. And then after Villa Capelli, we'll do a little 101 action on starches.
Yeah. So the next podcast that you and I are going to record, we are going to talk about a very recent, very insane olive oil fraud scheme. And because I think people don't believe us when we talk about how much food fraud is rampant in the olive oil world. And one of the biggest takeaways from it is that the FDA does not have time anymore to be pulling olive oil off the shelves of the grocery store to test it. And UC Davis doesn't do their tests anymore, by the way. Did you know that?
No, I do, because people kept yelling, you keep telling us to go get this UC Davis. It doesn't exist anymore.
Right. I mean, it does exist, but it's going to be old ones. They're not doing it every year like they used to. And it's a problem. And people don't believe us that the olive oil can be cut. And so that's why when we talk about our sponsor, Villa Capelli, we were talking about them as being the purest, most wonderful, delicious olive oil long before they were ever paying us. Just Paul Capelli decided to start paying us. And hear us now. Believe us when you order it. It is delicious. And if you've just been having grocery store olive oil, I can't speak to what you've been having. What was in the bottle is probably not even olive oil. That's how rampant the food fraud is. So I'm really excited to talk about that next week with you, Vinny. After you listen to the case that's been adjudicated, by the way.
This week, but I was busy trying to get vitamins back in stock.
Good for you. I'm so glad. So Villa Capelli olive oil, when you're ready to take the plunge to the good olive oil, because you have to think when you go NSNG, you're buying higher quality everything. You're putting your resources towards higher quality foods, and the fats are very important. Higher quality olive oil, higher quality avocado oil, coconut oil, things like that, butter. Those are the things you're going to cook your meals with. But olive oil in particular, you're going to use for dressings. You're going to use for marinades. You're going to use to saute things in, whether it's veggies or meat in the pan. And it's just the elixir, the golden elixir of life. And it is so good. Villa Capelli is so good. Make sure you use the discount code Vinnie, VINNIE. You're going to get 10% off your order each and every time. Vinnie and I always say, get your order cart up to about $140, $145, which is like a 3-liter tin, plus maybe a smaller, like flavored oil, maybe some of their salts or their seasonings. And use the discount code Vinnie, get 10% off your order, and then you'll still qualify for the free shipping, which is important because olive oil obviously is very heavy and expensive to ship. Yeah, get yourself some. That's all I can say. And next week we will dive into a really bonkers fraud scheme that happened very recently that was, thank God, busted.
Yeah. Yeah. These motherfuckers need to be held accountable.
They need to be. And by the way, this oil, and I use the term oil loosely because it was not olive oil. It was on the shelves at Costco, Walmart, you name it. It was out there.
Was it Costco's brand? We're going to get into it later.
No, they wouldn't say what brand it was. We'll talk about it.
Okay.
But it's enough where it's like, don't do that. Just get the Villa. Like, we're handing you the solution. Get Villa Capelli. Just get it.
Promo code Vinnie, VINNIE, no wimpy Y. Boom. Do it.
Boom.
Do it. Do it. Do it. All
Do
right,
it.
Adam, what do you want to talk about?
Starches.
Starches?
Well, we're going to talk about starches. And I guess I kind of wanted to go over because maybe we explain in NSNG 101 what is a grain, but then we always get the follow-up questions and people get upset. And I always wait for it. Somebody posted in my group a beautiful ribeye and then a half of a sweet potato next to it. And I was like bracing myself for the people freaking out about seeing the half of the sweet potato. Now I know the person who posted this is a metabolically sound person, right?
Did Anna
So I
freeze
wouldn't,
up on us?
it's an individualized basis, but let's just
She
start.
sure in the hell did.
Oh my
I was
God.
looking at, there you are, Anna. I can
Okay,
hear
sorry,
you.
I don't know what happened. Where did I cut off? The person who posted it was
Yeah,
metabolically sound.
that's exactly where you stopped. The person who posted and you went silent. Looks like she went silent again. There you are. All right, so Anna, you seem to be back. So the person who
You
posted,
start talking.
okay,
The
I'm
person who
talking.
posted it was metabolically sound, but I always wait to brace myself for like, oh God, here we go. Everyone's gonna lose their mind because somebody ate a half a sweet potato. Please, let's just
You
start with
got to
sweet
be
potato.
fucking kidding me that this is happening right now, right? Anna's getting ready to say the most important thing she's said in a long time. So Anna, you seem to be back now.
Mm-hmm. Am I?
Okay,
We'll see
I
about
can hear
that.
you. Yeah, I can hear you. Your picture's
I was just
frozen.
saying, like, people are about to lose their minds at half of a sweet potato, but what? Talk about sweet potatoes. But I also know the person who posted it is metabolically sound and has no weight to lose. So it's, you know what I mean? Talk about the starches, the divisive starches. Talk about tapioca starch, chickpea flour. Talk about quinoa. Talk about the things that people are confused or they've been told that this stuff is healthy. Why can't they have it? Explain it.
Okay. So when I say no sugars, no grains, and when I came up with that, when I started with no sugars, no grains, it was because it's easy to remember. Just cut out anything that's a sugar and cut out everything that's a grain. Now, some people have trouble with the grain, like they don't even know what a grain is. We live in a world where a lot of people go, wait a minute, what about wheat? Well, that's the number one grain. That's the biggest problem. Well, corn, I can have corn, right? I mean, that's a grain. So that's the two main grains, right? Corn and wheat. But then people go, all right, we can't have the grains, but there are things that are grain adjacent. So they start in with things like arrowroot and all this different kind of stuff. And they'll say, what about ancient grains? Or what about, on and on and on. But once you get someone past that, they'll go, okay, I'm on to all of the stuff, all of the arrowroot, all of the grains, all of the stuff. But wait, what about potatoes? That's not a sugar or a grain.
And we have to go back to arrowroot because that's confusing too. Because
Yeah,
sometimes
yeah,
we use
yeah, yeah, yeah,
arrowroot
yeah.
as a thickener.
You
Yeah.
just came back on, Anna. So, all right, we'll get to arrowroot in a minute. We'll get to all of that because some of that stuff is better to use in cooking than using a grain.
Mm-hmm. Flour, corn
All
syrup.
right, so people will get past all of that, and I'm going to let Anna explain some of the stuff she cooks with because it is way better. But we're not there right now. Potatoes, they'll go, well, that's not a sugar or a grain. Well, if you're looking at a white potato, right, it can be upwards of 105 on a glycemic scale. It's going to be at least 100. So what does that mean? Okay, the glycemic scale goes from 0, which means no carbohydrate whatsoever, and it goes all the way up to 100, which is just pure sugar. Pure sugar is 100. A white potato is at least as bad as a sugar, right? It's at least 100. And you'll say, well, Jesus Christ, that's not even, my dietitian told me I can have complex carbs and a potato is a complex carb. Let me explain to you in layman terms how bad it is for you when it comes to gaining weight. If you eat a simple sugar, just a scoop of sugar, granular sugar, or honey or anything like that, which is 100% sugar, you will get what's known as a glucose spike, meaning your blood sugar in your body will jump up really fast. Your body will release insulin. since there's not a lot around that sugar, meaning it's basically a hollow calorie, people call them hollow calories, insulin will go in and knock that sugar back down pretty quickly, right? You get rid of the spike and then you feel very tired. That's why people get on the sugar train. They'll go, oh my God, I ate that cookie. I feel good. I ate that Snickers bar. I feel good. Now you feel way worse than you did before you had it. Now you need something else. Now you're riding the sugar train and your body has to keep releasing insulin. Now, how does that relate to the potato? Well, it's a very interesting thing. The potato, because the dietitian said, oh, Vinny's wrong. You can have a potato. That's a complex carb. That's a good carb, which is the biggest oxymoron ever said, a good carb. The only good carb is the one that's in a 57 Chevy. Ba-boom! See what I did there, Anna? That was a joke.
Carburetor reference.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right. So the difference is when you have a complex carb, you don't just get a glucose spike. You get what's called a glycogen load, right? So now you have a starch which will stay in your stomach and pump to your liver for a lot longer. It doesn't just transfer as quickly because there's fiber and everything else, and it just keeps loading onto your liver. So you don't get that glucose spike, you get a glycogen load. And now your body has to keep dumping insulin on that. The same with bread, by the way. People, dietitians will go, oh, whole wheat bread is good. Get the 7-grain bread. No, that will cause a load, a glycogen load, and your body has to keep releasing insulin on that to get it to go down. Then you become insulin resistant, and then they tell you, oh, you can take Ozempic or Manjaro or one of these other things because you've now had too much of that thing, right? That's how that happens. So the starches are actually, in a weird way, worse for you than a simple sugar. And if you take something like a breakfast cereal, right, that's full of complex carbs and simple carbs because they dextrinize the sugar, now you got a double whammy. You got something that's spiking you and you got something that's loading you, right? That's why people, Vinny's really wrong.
You don't want to be spiked and loaded.
Hang on, I'm getting on a rant here, Anna.
Okay, go ahead.
My grandfather ate oatmeal every day and he lived to be 102 and he was never fat. Yeah, he was never metabolically broken, number one. And he had this and it was the only thing he was having, and he had other meats and everything throughout the day. When you put this stuff as part of a balanced diet, we used to be able to get away with it. But now when you have a big old of, oatmeal and you put raisins on it and you put cinnamon on it and you put sugar on it and before you know it, now you got a load with a spike. Now you got yourself metabolic disease if you keep doing that over and over. And what happens to people when they eat cereals in the morning? If they have it at 6 a.m, count it, 2 hours later, they're falling asleep at work. If you have it at 8 a.m, I've had people tell me driving into work, they would start falling asleep. Right? They would get a lull and they would have to stop and pull over and buy a candy bar or have something. And it's like, yo, Vinny, you don't understand. I have a metabolic disorder. I have this and that and the whole thing. You're already riding the sugar train from those complex carbs you had in the morning. Anna, would you like to say something?
It's funny. I haven't been hypoglycemic since I've gone NSNG.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah.
Once I got my blood sugar regulation in order, it wasn't an issue. I don't even think about it. It used to be if I didn't eat in the morning something, I would get so nauseous I would throw up.
Yeah.
From hypoglycemia. It's so in my 20s, And no, I'm in agreement.
Yeah. So Anna, I was talking earlier about some of the other things people substitute for carbohydrates, which are other carbs. People will make
The cauliflower tots instead of
cauliflower rice and cauliflower mash and cauliflower. Look, 1,000% better.
Yeah.
Right? Than if you're eating the crap. I think did we talk about it on this show a few weeks ago? the hearts of palm pasta and all this different
Yeah.
kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of those things. I've tried them. They always leave me. I'd rather just not have them. I'd rather
I
just
tell
have,
people they
you know.
work the hearts of palm pasta things work with a vinegar-based sauce, like a scampi or something that has, a white wine or a vinegar-based more acid profile. They're
Mhm.
not gonna work with, like I don't like the lasagna noodles, and so, like, it's just I'd rather just do the beef and layer beef and cheese and make, like or cabbage leaves or something like that. Um,
By the way, cabbage works really well for that kind of lasagna.
the best lasagna in my new cookbook is a cabbage leaf lasagna, trust and
Yeah.
believe. It's really good.
Yeah.
It's real good. So people do get I remember just us talking years ago about things like the acorn squash, the butternut squash, and you saying creaming it, adding cream, adding the fat to it.
Right.
So when I write those recipes, and it's not something I eat every day by any means, but when I write those recipes, they purposefully have cream or fats added to them to mitigate.
And look, that doesn't completely fix it, but that makes it where you're getting fat along with the carbohydrate, which is what you want, right? So you're not going to get that big giant spike that's going to hit you. And since Anna's using vegetables versus grains,
Yeah.
you also have that layer. So it becomes okay. Look, I know a lot of people are sitting there going, Vinny, you're wrong. I'm a carnivore. Carnivores have become as crazy as vegans in some cases. And there's nothing wrong with being a carnivore. The difference between a carnivore and a vegan is that you can actually sustain life on a carnivore
Right.
diet, right? But I still like having vegetables. I believe in it. We're talking about one ingredient foods, and I get it. A grain is one ingredient, but those are the starches that you want to stay away from.
I will say it feels like the most divisive thing is that oatmeal. I don't know why. It just triggers people in such a way. And I think honestly, if we were to be honest, oatmeal is gelatinous, gluey goo that doesn't taste like anything unless what you put in it. So it's almost like, well, don't take away the thing that doesn't even taste good. Don't tell me that I have been eating this thing that doesn't even taste good, thinking it was healthy, and now you're gonna tell me that that's part of the problem? Screw you, dude. So I get why people think they're really attached to, "No, this thing doesn't even taste good, so it must be healthy," because we have that thing, that attachment. But really, the thing that I like that you say is that everything is customizable based on the person. Because we're all looking for like, well, what's the solution? What's the diet that works for everybody? And it's like, well, cutting out processed food works for everybody. But then you may have to tweak on it.
Yeah.
And yeah, your grandfather or whoever could be the guy who eats oatmeal every day for their whole life. Good for them. But you might be one who eats it and you put on a CGM monitor and it spikes your blood sugar. And then all day long, you're dealing with type 2 diabetes or you're dealing with whatever it is. And that's the other thing I say too when people are wondering, get a CGM, get a continuous glucose monitor and see how your body responds to stuff. I think you'll be surprised.
Yeah. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. I remember, speaking of oatmeal, in the early days of dating Serena, Tallulah was a little girl. One of our family, we would go to Mammoth. Mammoth, if folks that don't live in California, Mammoth is like you could get up there, ski for 2 days, and get back home, and no one notices that you're missing, right? So it's kind
Mhm.
of a weekend getaway, and it used to be cheap and cheerful. And whenever I got with Serena, she would make the steel cut oats for Tallulah, and she would bring those big plump raisins along.
Mhm.
We would have because we would always get like a little condo room so that we can cook,
Right.
which made everything even cheaper, right? So it was like, okay, yeah, I'm going to do this because Tallulah's doing it. I want to be part of the family, and once every now and again, I would do it, and I would have the raisins on there, the honey, the cinnamon, the whole thing, fresh steel cut oats, and I would have that at 6 in the morning. Now, when you're dealing with a kid, the slopes open at 8. By the time you get her untangled from everything, it's like 9 o'clock by the time you start skiing. Every time I did that, I would have to tell Serena, I need to go upstairs. First off, I would be drinking coffee the whole time we're getting Tallulah ready just to stay awake after I just woke up. And I would tell Serena, I need to go grab myself an omelet. I
Yeah.
can't go
You need
skiing now.
something that
Look,
sticks to your ribs.
yeah, I can't go skiing on what feels like an empty stomach, something I ate 2 hours, a big fucking bowl of the sugar and steel cut oats. I'm like sitting there going, I'm hungry and my eyes are closing.
Yeah.
I would go get myself an omelet, or I would have them scramble me up 3 or 4 eggs. And when you're at the slopes getting that, whip out the wallet, baby, because it
That's
ain't
right.
cheap.
Oh, yeah.
And I just got to the point where whenever they were having their oatmeal, I would just have 5, 6, 7 eggs. That can literally take me skiing all day long.
Yeah.
I can leave the house, cook those things in butter. I can leave the chalet that morning, that wherever we're staying, and go all day. Right?
Yep.
Sometimes 2, 3 in the afternoon, you might get a little lull. You stop. I would have a coffee with heavy cream. Boom, out there again.
Good to go till dinner.
Yeah, good to go.
So I just want to address too, because one of the biggest questions that I get is, can I use coconut flour and almond flour as a one-to-one substitution with baking? And that's a newbie question that I get quite often. And what I want to tell you is, I have a few little baking recipes in the books, but eventually you're not going to bake that much anymore. You're going to make meat
Right.
and veg, and you're going to get there. And so when this is an issue of substituting stuff, you will use almond flour and you will use coconut flour, providing you don't have allergies to that stuff. And those are common things to use. You might coat your chicken cutlets in almond flour or pork rinds, but you don't need to use the substitutions. And by the way, you cannot use them as one-to-one substitutions, because almond flour and coconut flour have no binders. They have no way of baking. They have nothing to make them rise. So everything with baking has very specific applications when you're grain-free baking. But I want to address tapioca starch or flour. What's the other one? Chickpea flour,
Mm-hmm.
cassava flour. Is cassava and tapioca the same thing? No, tapioca is the thing, and then cassava is the root. So these are often used in grain-free applications, and I'm doing air quotes as I'm saying that. They are grain-free, but they're tubers and they're starchy. Taro is another one.
Yeah.
They're starchy. So they do work well as a grain-free flour substitute because they're binding and sticky and starchy. But they're not going to do well if you're doing NSNG and you find yourself buying the cassava flour tortillas and you're doing tapioca starch as a binder. When you're adding a lot of carbs in. So what I would tell you is avoid it. Avoid it. But
Yeah.
if you insist on eating it, don't be surprised when you're plateauing. And
Again, if you have a
it's not working.
CGM, you'll
If you have a
notice
CGM, you'll
that's
see. Yeah.
yeah.
So I just wanted to address those starches because I get asked, like, can I have the siete cassava flour tortilla? And I'm like, first of all, I'm not going to tell you if you can or you can't. But I will say cassava has a tremendous amount of starch in it. I would put that up against a flour tortilla with the same amount of starch that's in it.
Look,
Yeah.
I've had
Maybe
people
even
do this.
more.
They've done the Siete chips on the CGM machine. They're like, yeah, I might as well have had Doritos.
And by the way, you don't have like 5 siete chips. You finish the bag. Like
Yeah.
you don't just, you know what I mean? It's like, oh, I'm just having a tiny handful of chips.
Yeah, no, Serena brought him into the house one time, and I was like, "What is this?" She said, "Oh, no, no, no." And I looked at her, I said, "Serena, it's just as bad." She ate a bunch of them, and she goes, "Yeah, the same crap, same crap." Threw them out.
Yeah.
But yeah, yeah.
We did it.
Anna,
Yeah.
I think we gave people good information here.
I think we did.
Look,
Vinny. And now I have a directive
okay,
straight
go on.
from the top to make these stuffed artichokes.
Listen, I'm going to have Marie get in touch with you. You know what? I think the best thing I'm gonna get you guys texting. My phone is not next to me,
Okay.
but write to me and say, "Hey, don't forget to hook me up." You have Marie's number, right?
I might. Let me see.
Yeah, give it a look
Hold on. Where's my contacts? Oh, there it is.
because I think you guys talked a couple of times, or I thought you did.
Yes. Nope. Nope. I have her address. I do not have her phone number in there.
All right, I'm going to hook you guys up, and I'm going to explain to her what you're going to try to do. Right? You're
I
gonna
mean,
get.
try to tell her that without insulting her, okay?
She would love that you did, like you were able to do it. Then
Like I
she
did the
would
jardinera.
yeah. She is. My mom is so NSNG now.
I
She
love
is
it.
so into it. She calls me from the grocery store still, and she'll go, your daddy is looking at. It's always my dad's fault. Your
Right.
daddy is looking at blah blah blah, and it's like, Ma, don't tell on him. What the fuck's wrong with you? Yeah,
Your
come on.
daddy looking at the protein bar, Vinny.
You guys have been married for 63 years, 64 years, and you're fucking ratting him out to me. What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Listen, she needs to find some fun, okay?
She's got the casinos. She's got enough fun.
That's true. I forgot she does the gambling.
Oh yeah. All right. So folks, Anna Vocino has a new book out there. It's holiday time. I've ordered a gazillion of them and I just hand them out. Right.
And they're
Because
priced better because they're pretty little soft covers,
mhm.
and they're priced better than the hardcover books.
Yeah, I like it. I
Gift
like that it's a
gift
soft
priced.
cover.
Yeah, I
Right.
do too.
It's
I do
called
too.
Eat Happy Kitchen. It's her third book
Eat
in a
Happy
series.
Italian is what it's called.
Oh, what did I say? I
Eat
didn't say.
Happy Kitchen.
Oh, Eat Happy Kitchen. I'm reading it because it says Anna Vocino, Eat Happy Kitchen under
Yeah.
your name. Okay, folks, forget about that. It's called Eat Happy
It's
Italian.
called Anna
You know
Vocino.
what's funny? I'm looking at it right over my computer. It's sitting right there. Eat Happy Italian. Go get it. Serena's been making recipes out of it. You got me thinking when I said Serena made the lasagna one time with the cabbage.
Mhm.
And then I remembered, oh, wait, that was your recipe. That's where we got it from. It's
Oh,
an
that's funny.
excellent recipe. We didn't get it from the book. It was before the book was out. But
Yep.
that recipe is now in that book, folks. So go
Yep.
check it out. Also, annavocino.substack.com.
Lots of
Check her out
recipes
there.
there.
And she's on Instagram every day. For me, you know what to do. We all go shopping on Amazon. Before you go to Amazon, it's holiday time. We're going to be buying a lot of stuff on Amazon. Go to VinnieTortorich.com first. Click through the banner. It puts coal on the fire, gets my train down the track. I'm begging you guys to rate and review this podcast. Is how other people find it. And of course, if you're hurting over the holidays, I'm doing consults. Just go to VinnieTortorich.com. And it says you can talk to Vinnie today, which is kind of a lie because if you sign up today, you can talk to me tomorrow. If it's a weekend, you're going to have to wait 2 days to talk to me.
You don't have any urgent. You don't have an urgent plan.
No, there's no. I used to do it 7 days a week, and then I realized, wait a minute, I have no life for myself, so I have to carve out time for life and family and everything else. So 5 days a week, I will pick up the phone. I was talking to a guy, Adam. The guy's name was Adam today. We had a lovely call at 11 o'clock. And he said to me, I can't believe that for a few bucks I was able to get on the phone with you.
Yeah.
I said, yeah.
Oh, and it's so good too. Like it's when people are like, "Oh my God, it was so helpful." I'm like, "Yeah, that's what he does. He's so helpful." Well,
The example I always have is if I was going to, golf, right? Let's say I was going to take up golf again. I haven't played in a lot of years because my shoulder was messed up. I could go out there and whack at golf balls until the cows come home and just waste a ton of time. Or I could go out there once and practice, do a couple of buckets of balls, and then the next time I go out, bring a coach with me now that I've gotten into the groove again, have a coach watch me and give me pointers, right? And then go away and work on that. And when you need go again, get a coach. I do that with skeet, right? When I start missing.
Lauren has a golf coach. He works with the pro at least once a week. He's out with the pro.
And he's a scratch golfer, right?
Yeah.
Or pretty close to scratch.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, look, I'm great at skeet shooting. Not that great. I'm good enough. But when I start missing more than usual, I grab a guy and go, "Hey, I need you to come stand behind me. Give me an eyeball." And we do it that way. So that's why I do the consult. So you can check that out. I did say that we were going to listen to a group called Humble Pie, and I'm not lying to you. So on behalf of Anna Vocino, my name is Vinnie Tortorich. Put life into living and do it in 30 days in a hole.